Okay, so help me in welcoming Mr. Samuel Olatunde. Yay! Welcome, welcome. It's so good to have you. When I was thinking of um who to bring on the program, the first person to bring on the program, of course, I was thinking of somebody that, just graduated and got some experience, and the memory is still fresh off of college because you just graduated college last year. And so, this is stuff that we're going to talk about as we go. But I want to start out with you introducing yourself.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be on this program. And, I just want to say I really appreciate what you're doing, helping international students and giving them a voice to be heard. And, helping those that are coming to be international students in whatever country they're going to have an opportunity, especially in the US, to have an opportunity to make the best decisions and, be the best in whatever area that, they're working in. Like you said, my name is Samuel Latide. I came to United States in 2019 from Nigeria or your state, but I lived in Kwara State, Ilorin, with my family. I came in 2019 and went to Georgia Southern University, where I got my degree in accounting and fraud examination. And during my time at Georgia Southern University, I worked at the Chick-fil-A as a brother. I worked at the student advising office as a student advising assistant. And then I did an internship with one of the biggest accounting and consulting firms in the world, Deloitte, where I worked as an audit and assurance intern. And then after graduation, I got an offer, full-time offer with Grive as a financial reporting analyst, where I help with the preparation of the 10Ks, the 10Qs. I'm just making sure that the financial statements are in line with, the SEC and the GAP, and ensuring that I work with top professionals in my department, and build that teamwork skill.
Okay, before you go into all those specific and great details, that it would be good to even ask back a lot of extended experience that can be shared, especially for people who are looking for jobs and things of that nature. But we're going to start. How did you learn about Georgia Southern? Because I see a lot of international students ask me questions about how to start, where they're going to start from, and I always say go online and just look at schools, figure out what kind of major you want to do. Is it a master's program? Is it a bachelor's program? And then you go from there. And then when you search online on Google, you can go ahead and reach out, write and type into the search box that you are looking for a school that has this program, or the kind of program that you want. And then you go from there looking at the list of schools that are available and also talking to other people. So I want to say, how did you come about Georgia Southern?
Um, Honestly, coming about Georgia Southern, I think it's the help of my you and my siblings. I didn't really know anything about schools in the United States, and in fact, I wanted to even stay in Nigeria and go to a college in Nigeria. But because of what my parents were, I think it's an African tradition. Where your siblings go, that's where you also most likely go. But one strategy I took after gaining admission into Georgia Southern, and also in my pursuit now of looking for a master's degree, is I went online to look for what schools offer the degree I'm interested in. Went on Google, search, okay, if I'm an accounting major and I'm looking for a master's in accounting, what schools offer accounting degrees. And then after looking for the schools, I write like my top list of schools I know I can probably get into. That entails looking at the requirements of the school, the admission requirements. Do I meet up with the GPA? Do I have the documents they want? If a school wants you to take the GRE or the GMAT exam, do I have that? If they waive it, then that's also a good thing. Then you also look at the tuition to also see if is this school a school that fits your budget or your parents' budget, and looking at all these things has helped me in my process of looking for my master's. I'll say my bachelor's, it was mostly my siblings that helped me with that. I didn't have any information about that, but right now looking at my bachelor's, right now. Applying for my master's, I have an understanding of, just checking out those schools that have the degrees that I want. If also, I think one also important thing is also looking at schools that have a graduate assistantship. If you're looking for a master's program, especially, those help you to like reduce your tuition and, help you to work with professionals like professors, or like even do an internship with other companies while you are in the master's program. So I think all this, looking at the tuition, graduate assistantship opportunities, if you meet the requirements, those important things are what I looked at while I was applying for my master's program.
Okay, thank you. That went really well, and I think that when you are playing this again, you can go back in there and kind of work, some of the things that you just said and take notes and make sure that those are the things that you're looking out for and those are the things that you're searching for. Okay, let's talk about scholarships. Most people don't know that when they're applying to schools, it is important that they look out for scholarships. I know that there are not a lot of scholarships out there for international students, but would you say that getting a scholarship is, of course, beneficial to, your experience as an international student?
I think we all agree that getting a scholarship is beneficial, especially from coming from Africa, even Nigeria, where the rate of $1 is very high right now. The currency exchange rate is high, so I think even if you are able to get a scholarship, regardless of the amount it is, it also helps you to helps you to further the process in your tuition. And one thing, like you said, international students don't know is that there are a lot of opportunities available for international students, especially in the scholarship area, where they can get scholarships from different organizations or associations connected with the school, and that can help them to reduce the tuition burden from their parents. While applying for my sister's, helping my sister to apply, I was able to talk to some of my friends who got scholarships at Georgia Southern University, and I found out that there was a scholarship that reduces your tuition to like maybe 4,000 or 5,000 compared to like paying like 12,000 or 15,000. So I think knowledge is key. Asking the right people, asking the international office, that the school of the international office, especially the school that you're applying to, asking them for information about are there any scholarships available, and also making sure that you meet the requirement of those scholarships. And when you get the scholarship, honestly, it does you and your family a good thing, because it just reduces the burden that you have to bear as a student, especially if you're funding yourself.
Right. Thank you. I feel like I wanted to ask you that question because, when you hear somebody else say it, it makes much sense. Because we've been posting, some things on our page in terms of scholarship, in terms of what to do, but people can think these are just abstract things, right? But when you hear it from somebody else who was also an international student, it kind of makes a difference. So yes, most people don't know that coming to school in the US actually costs money. Money from not only your tuition, but what about your flight ticket? What about when you get here, you got to shop for clothes, which I'm not even going to go into details in, because this is going to be something that we talk about even at on later recordings and stuff like that. Okay, so my next question is, how was the transition? When you come in as an international student, it's completely different. For example, I'm sure when you're coming from Nigeria, the weather in Nigeria is warmer, right? And then you get to the US and the weather is like really, really cold. How have you been able to adjust to that international student life? There's that part of your family being across the ocean as well, and you don't get to spend as much time with them. What would be your advice in terms of picking a school as an international student? Because I believe that being in a place that was closer to family really helped. Because on the holidays, I was able to go to the family. But I also know that people have things like international exchange programs where there are families that want to take you in and families that want to spend time with you. So let's talk about your transition. Give us like examples, go into detail about, when you first came, what was the culture shock? What was some of the experience that you had that, now you know a little bit better?
Thank you so much for that question. The transition was a big shock, honestly, because I used to visit the United States just for like vacations, but most of the times I stayed indoors and I had limited conversations and communications with other people in the country. So when I came here, especially as an international student, I think one something that helped me was a program that my school offered, Georgia Southern offered, which is the SOAR program, which gives you the opportunity to be able to build that relationship with other international students. So you come before the resumption date and you have like 2 or 3 days where you spend with international students, build that bond, you make friends because sometimes like you're far from family, the location you pick the school location you pick may be far from family. So looking at being able to find someone from the same background as you, from the same country, also or maybe someone from even the African continent, helps you to just feel a little bit more at home. I can remember when I got here for the SHOW program, I was able to meet some of my good friends that I'm still in communication with, Agum, Princess. I've been able to build those relationships with them just because of that program. And also, another good thing was, I was able to take the same classes with some of these international students where we have been able to like further that communication, build that relationship and that friendship with each other, that has helped us to, be able to push each other to achieve, be the best in whatever we're doing. I think one thing you people have to consider is when they're looking for schools, they also have to consider what school will help them in furthering their program or will put them in a better level after they graduate. Because for people that are doing information system or computer science, there are schools that just focus mainly on that. They also have other degrees, but they focus mainly on that and they have common connections with different companies. So as an international student, you want to be thinking about the future. Okay, this school, does this school have connections with the companies I would like to work with? Does this school have connections with companies that sponsor the international visa? Looking at all these things help you to pick the right school. Also, I think another shock for me was the food. My first year in college, I was eating mostly fries and chicken. I didn't really eat a lot of American food. I didn't like pizza, so that was not something I had. But then I also with building that relationship with African students, there were some African students who could cook. So just building that relationship with them. Whenever someone cooks, we all gather around to like eat together, and that also helped me to be able to cook because I had to know that I had to build myself because if I wasn't going to be eating fries. Yeah, I wasn't going to be eating fries for the rest of my life. So I had to look for ways to be able to survive. And that way, preparing African dishes. There's some African stores in Savannah, even one that just opened up in Statesboro here, where the school is located at, helped in setting that environment for me to be able to get African food. And sometimes I would have to drive to Atlanta, which is like 3.5 hours away to get those products that I need to cook. But they were still helpful because I was able to settle down and not worry about food. And I think a good thing that the school provided for us also was the accommodation. There were like accommodations where all on the same floor level. They were all international students. That way, we could build that bond with each other. And every room had different international students. It was just not only okay Nigerian to Nigerian, but maybe Nigerian to Indian, Nigerian to France. To different countries, not even only Nigerian, but maybe like Senegal to Cameroon, just different backgrounds of international students were able to mix together and build that relationship.
Okay. Thank you for that. Yes, absolutely. There are accommodations that, can be specifically geared towards international students. So, as I'm thinking of, everything that we have said so far, I realized that we mentioned a lot about about Georgia Southern University. And this, just a disclaimer, this is not an ad for Georgia Southern University. This is not us doing an ad for them. This is just based on, his experience and where he went to for undergrad. So a lot of the information that is going to give, of course, is going to be about the school that he went to. It cannot be about, random school that he has never been at before. So I wanted to put that disclaimer out there. This is not, an advertisement or, a propaganda for Georgia Southern University. That's just where he went to school. Okay, continuing in our question, did you do a thesis program or a non-thesis program? I think a lot of people don't know the difference between that when it comes to their undergraduate degree. And if you did a thesis program, can you give us details into what that inquires, what that entails, what you had to do? Yeah. What you had to do, what that entails, and what was the final work product, and how did you even get into that thesis program?
Thank you. One program Georgia Southern gives, and I think it's across all colleges in the United States, is the honors program. And when you join the honors program as an undergrad, you get the opportunity to write a thesis or work on a thesis with a professor. And at first, I just wanted to join the honors program because I wanted to be able to get to class registrations early, because for freshmen you get to pick the last, and the classes you want to pick are probably not the ones you want to take for the next semester. So a way of picking classes on time was being an honor student, where you are like one of the first people to pick the classes you want. So that's one of the reasons why I joined the honors program.
That there's a GPA requirement, of course, to be an honors student. So can you tell us, for your school, what was that requirement? And that question just came to me, and I said, let me ask that.
That's fine. I think for my school, the GPA requirement, I think it's a 3.5 to a 3.8, or a 3.8. I'm not exactly sure because it's been a long time since I applied, but it's really a high GPA. I think it should be a 3.5 for the honors program. So I applied for the honors program, and then I started to just take classes. I thought the classes were going to be different, but you have to also take honors classes, which is maybe two or three courses during your the 4-year plan you have in college. And honestly, those classes were not difficult. Just for honors students, you will probably just be graded a little bit different than regular students, and that may entail maybe having to do maybe more assignments, or maybe an extra project that most students are not doing. But that was basically most of the things the honors program entailed of. And then we got to a time where we had to take the thesis classes, and that will help us to prepare for our get a topic that we're going to focus on a thesis on, and get a professor that we're going to work with, because you have to work with a professor. Sometimes you can work with professors who have written thesis before, and you can work with a professor who has not done that before. or doesn't have a PhD. I went with the route of picking a professor who doesn't have a PhD and hasn't done a thesis research. It was a new environment for me because it was also a new environment for my professor. Shout out to Professor Paula Mooney, who helped me through this process, and I was able to. I was able to work with her in writing my honors thesis. And an honors thesis, I think it takes maybe it took me almost a year to start working on the honors thesis because I had to also defend my thesis and present it to other professors, students, and even parents. So I think the process helped me to. It gave me an opportunity as an international student to put my name out there, and also as an accounting student because there are not a lot of theses that you write in the accounting field, unless maybe you go through the PhD route. But I was able to write my thesis, doing a lot of research, looking at other people's theses, other people's research that has been done in the past, and making sure that I'm not just copying everything that people have written in the past. My thesis was on fraud and audit expectation gap, which talked about the expectation the public has when there's a fraud, when the accounting auditor has to check the financial statements. Is it the responsibility of the auditor to prevent fraud or to detect fraud? Just asking that questions to students, and seeing which group of students or which set of students have a good understanding about that topic. And I still get notifications from my published thesis, and I think over 200 people have been able to view the thesis, and I think that also helps me maybe in applying for job opportunities, telling people that I've written a thesis. It's a long process. It's not something easy, but it's worth it.
Thank you for that. Truly, I think one of the things to take out of this is if you do a thesis program, of course, you're going to put in so much work. You're going to have to, write papers and, turn those papers in for peer reviews. But you know that you're putting out work that is effective to people's lives, right? This is a project that you're doing that is beneficial. Like you said, even after a year after you graduated from college, there's still people looking at these papers around the world, and they're using that paper for their own research benefits, or to even help their companies or organizations be a little bit better. So I think that it's not just work that you're doing that just sits there. This is work that it's beneficial, and it lasts for a very, very long time, because whenever you put something on the internet or the media space, it's out there. You cannot take it back, and it's out there for the rest of your lives. And so I think considering a thesis program is really, really interesting and beneficial. I think that I'm done with all my questions for the day. I think my last question is going to be that if you had to give one advice, if you had to give somebody an advice as an international student who is just coming in, or somebody that wants to come to the US to study, or even if they wanted to go anywhere around the world to study, what would be the advice that you would give?
Thank you so much. I think the advice I'll give is put in the work. Most international students, when we get here, we compare ourselves to students who are already citizens of this country, and we go out, not making the best of our opportunities, doing different activities when we should be studying, or we should be putting the effort in, preparing ourselves, for the workforce. And when we get to closer to graduation, we want to start looking for internships or looking for job opportunities. But if you compare yourself to those students who are already citizens of this country, they don't have anything to go worry about, because they are here for the lifetime. So they don't have anything to worry about I have to look for a job, I have to look for an opportunity. They can always get a job at any point in time, but as international students, after graduation, you only have limited time, especially for those who did not go for a STEM program or who are not planning to go for a STEM program, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. If you don't go for any of these programs, any of these majors, and you go for something like accounting, you only have 1 year after you graduate, and you have to get a visa sponsorship, an H-1B visa, work visa, and you have to be ready to put in the work. Your parents are helping you to finance your tuition in whatever college you decide to go. So be ready to put in the work when your friends are busy like going out, and doing different things. Be ready to put in the work in preparing your resume, making sure that your GPA score is high, connecting with companies, because those are the things that will help you to get a full-time opportunity or an internship opportunity after you graduate. So I think being able to put in the work, is something that is an advice that will pass to international students who are already here and international students who are coming. Be ready to put in the work. Build those connections with people, build connections with recruiters. Don't just overlook anyone. Be a good student, and try to do your best to build those relationships.
Okay, thank you so much. Um, I feel like segueing to, I find job for international students, and I know you're really good at that. So we might have to bring you back. But before you leave, I just remembered something that I guess I did not ask. So for me, when I first started college, I struggled. It was a struggle because, and when I say I struggled, I did not make F's. Okay, I made C's and B's and of course A's. But for me, it was a struggle because coming from Nigeria, I always did very very well, and I just thought that that process was going to continue like that. In me being a straight A student before I came, just making that same transition. But I didn't realize that there's a lot of transition in academics wise. For example, where Nigeria's A was like a 75 year, the A started from like a 90. And so just tell us a little bit about your experience as a freshman. Did you do well in school? And if you did well, what did you do differently? Because when I came, I was on my own, basically, learning everything from scratch, getting to the library, doing the assignments, everything, not even knowing that, you add places that you could go for tutoring and stuff like that. I learned that a little bit much later, of course, after talking to a little bit of my cousins and, the friends that I had on campus. So if you did really good, did you do really good in your first year? And if you did really good, what did you do differently?
I think I did really good. Not to brag, but I know I did really good. My freshman year of college, and that was because I asked questions. Most people, we believe that we can do this life on our own. We can achieve things by ourselves, but we also need the help of others, and we need to be able to ask questions. What will take you 10 years to achieve, you can ask a simple question, and that can reduce the number of years to maybe 2 years or a year. But if you don't ask questions, you keep doing that same thing, and you keep making the same mistake that other people have made. And especially for my sister, you said that you when you got here, you were on your own, and you didn't, there were like tutoring centers on campus that could help you to improve your scores or help you with your assignments or projects. And just when I got here, I asked questions about what I need to do, how I can improve my grades from you and my professors and my friends. And I was able to find out that there was a maths tutoring center, because I had difficulty with maths. That was probably the only subject I was finding very difficult to do in my freshman year, and that was because I took a year after I graduated from high school. I took a year to myself to spend time with family and stay in Nigeria. And no education for a year can really affect you. So when I got here, a little algebra was very difficult for me, and I was very good at maths in high school. So I went to the what I did was every day after um, my last class of the day, I would go to the dining and get lunch. After getting lunch, I would go straight to the tutoring center and work on my assignments, even if I knew what the answers were to the assignments, or even if I was unsure, I still went ahead to the tutoring center to just ask for help, whatever I was unsure about. And that became like a routine for me. Every single day was a routine. I think there was even a time I went on Friday, but I realized I forgot that they were closed because that was just like a routine for me, just going to the tutoring center every day. And just spending hours. I would go there from like maybe like 2, and I will not leave until maybe they close the tutoring center. And I'll be able to be making 90s on my assignments, on the quizzes, with the help of like the tutors. I really appreciate their help wherever they are. But just being able to ask questions, I think that helped me to achieve success in my freshman year of college.
Okay. Yeah, what you're saying a lot is making sure that you're putting in that work. When you come from a different country, you know the amount of money that your sponsor or your family is spending. Even if you got a scholarship, you know that you have to keep up a particular GPA just to keep that scholarship. And so that ad work, I think, is really important. And like you said before, you're not an island. You're not an island on your own. You have a lot of people around you that can be of help to you. So make sure that you're asking for help. You're asking people for help, and you're taking those help. It's a different thing if you ask me, oh, should I go to the mathematics tutoring center? And I say, yeah, sure, go. But you never actually go. So it's not only asking for help, it's also taking the help that is available for you. I always say that there are two kinds of students. There are ones that come in, they learn from the mistakes of people that have come before them, and they do really, really well throughout their college years. Actually, there are three kinds of students. The second students are those who come, they don't know much, they learn from scratch, but they might suffer in the first year, but by the second, third, fourth year, they're moving so fast and they're doing so well in school. And then finally, they're just those that come and they just want to waste their parents' money, basically, just partying every weekend, doing random things that they have no business doing, instead of actually focusing on school. And so I think that, putting in that artwork is really important. So we just want to say thank you for, coming on today and just sharing with us. I know we covered a lot of topics from, you starting school, how you got in here, to even finding an internship. This is just the first day, and we're going to break down these topics even into smaller chunks so that we can go into in-depth detail, and even into, more in-depth information. So thank you so much for joining us today. This is the end of the topic for this week. Make sure you guys look out and be on the lookout for the next topics that we're going to be sharing in the next couple of weeks as well. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for joining us. And if you have any questions, please put it in the comment section and we will be sure to answer you. And even Samuel will also be there to kind of ask. He is, of course, on Instagram, so you can follow him on Instagram if you have any more questions. But whatever questions you guys have for him, it is better to put it into the comment section so that, we can be aware that you're asking him questions, so that, it's not something that becomes a problem later and, we don't know what questions you're asking and, what you were writing in the person's DM. So better not to contact them directly, but you can put your questions in the comment section and then we will be sure to answer you. So thank you so much. Thank you. We really appreciate you, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.